in the serene suburb of Broomfield, Colorado. It's 20 miles north of Denver. December 2023 promised holiday cheer for families decking their halls. But for one household on Promontory Loop, the season brought terror, betrayal, and a tragedy that would shatter lives. Kristil Krug, a 43-year-old mother of three, thought she was being hunted by a ghost from her past, a relentless stalker who knew her every move. But the truth was far darker, hidden in plain sight. Welcome to the Crime Decoder, where we unravel the chilling details of real crimes. Today, we dive into a case of obsession, digital deception, and a murder that exposed a husband's sinister facade. This is the story of Kristil Krug, the predator she never saw coming. Kristil Krug, a Colorado native, born in Boulder in 1980, brilliant and driven. She earned a biochemical engineering degree from 2 prestigious state universities, carving out a successful career in tech. By 2023, she lived at 3132 Promontory Loop in Broomfield, working remotely in a high-pressure role managing software projects. Her life centered around her 3 children, 14-year-old Emma, 11-year-old Liam, and 8-year-old Sophie, and her husband of 16 years. Daniel Krug, also 43, a finance officer for Colorado's Department of Public Health. Their 2-story home, nestled in a cul-de-sac, seemed the picture of suburban stability. But beneath the surface, their marriage was fracturing. Kristil confided to her family that Daniel's temper outbursts, like throwing shoes or slamming doors, had her fearing for the kids. By September 2023, she was planning a divorce, determined to secure full custody, but trapped by lack of proof against him. On October 2, 2023, at 1:17 p.m., Kristil's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "I'm in Boulder sometimes. Want to catch up? You game?" The sender claimed to be Anthony Holland, a man she'd dated for 3 months in the summer of 1999 at age 18, during her freshman year at college. Their fling ended amicably by fall, with no contact after a brief run-in at a Boulder cafe in Spring Arlene-Ligny. Kristil, now a married mother, found the message jarring. She ignored it, but the texts kept coming daily, then hourly. October 3rd, they turned obsessive. "Our summer was like The Notebook. We're meant to be." Anthony referenced public records, claiming he'd found her through LinkedIn and property listings. Alarmed, Kristil started a digital log, meticulously screenshotting each message. She recalled Anthony's past attempts to reconnect sporadic emails in 2005, 2010, and 2015, always light and fleeting, but this felt different, stalkerish, personal. By October 10th, the messages grew menacing. One email detailed her car's expired license plate, a chilling hint someone was watching. Another suggested she ended all to spare her family. Kristil marched into the Broomfield Police Department, meeting Detective Alina Martinez. "He's been following me for 20 years, she said, her voice trembling as she shared her log. Martinez noted the messages came from spoofed numbers and anonymous Gmail accounts, easily masked with apps like Texno or burner phone services. She advised Kristil to install cameras, consider a restraining order, and stay vigilant. Kristil, a methodical planner, went Elin. She bought a $400 CloudLink dashcam with front and rear views, motion sensors for her SUV, and upgraded her home's Ring system to record 24/7, feeding footage to a secure server. She told her dad, "Michael, I'm catching this guy, no matter what." On October 31st, Halloween, the stakes skyrocketed. At 2:43 p.m., Kristil received an email from kickman99@gmail.com with a photo of Daniel exiting his black Mazda SUV at his workplace on Cherry Creek Drive, Denver. Snow flecked the pavement, matching that day's weather. The caption, "Hope Don drives safe. Tailpipes are tricky." Kristil's heart sank. Daniel rarely went to the office, but he'd been there for a meeting that Tuesday. She raced to Martinez, her log now a 20-page dossier of texts, emails, and timestamps. "He's targeting my husband now," she said, fear cracking her composure. Daniel, rattled, began carrying a retractable steel baton and pepper gel, even sleeping with them beside his bed. At work, he confided to his supervisor, Karen Ellis, tearing up, "I feel like bait for this creep." The Krugs added deadbolts, a backyard camera, and a side yard motion sensor. But the stalker seemed to know their every move where Kristil parked at her dentist in Westminster, when Daniel left for work. Kristil's family sensed her unraveling. Her father, Michael, a retired engineer, recalled her frustration. Dan thinks I'm blowing this out of proportion. He's no help. Her mother, Linda, divorced from Michael and remarried, noticed Kristil's paranoia spiking. She'd moved to the basement, sleeping apart from Daniel, citing his explosive rages and incidents like throwing Liam's sneakers during arguments. Kristil told Linda she feared leaving the kids alone with him, but stayed for their sake. By November, the messages turned vile. A dark web ad posted November 20th invited assaults on Kristil's birthday. November 24th. Another email proposed she murdered Daniel and flee to the East Coast with the stalker and his girlfriend. Kristil hired a private investigator, spending $2,000 to trace phone numbers. But every lead hit a dead-end numbers routed through VPNs, IPs cloaked by proxy servers. She told her stepmom, Rachel, the police aren't helping anymore. They've backed off. Linda began to suspect. Was Anthony really behind this? The tech was too sophisticated, the knowledge too intimate. Kristil fortified her defenses. She enrolled in self-defense classes at a Broomfield gym, practicing Krav Maga twice weekly. Her dad gifted her a $300 concealed carry purse for her birthday, fitted for her Glock 19. She told Michael, I'm not a victim. But the pressure was crushing her tech job, demanded 60-hour weeks. And the stalker's threats eroded her sleep. Daniel, meanwhile, seemed oddly detached. He told police, She didn't tell me about the stalker at first, admitting their marriage was on the rocks. Kristil's brother, Ethan, confirmed they'd separated a year earlier, in December 2022, living as roommates for the kids. On November 16th, Martinez interviewed Daniel, noting his calm demeanor despite the threats. Kristil texted Ethan, Dan threw me under the bus with the cops. He's not on my side. A neighbor, Sarah Thompson, later told police she saw Kristil checking her cameras obsessively, muttering about someone watching from the cul-de-sac. A chilling clue emerged later. On December 13th, at 3:22 p.m., Daniel's work computer at the health department logged a Google search. How hard for head trauma to go unconscious. That evening, Kristil texted her mom, I'm so tired of this. Don doesn't get it, and the police can't find this guy. She felt alone, betrayed by those meant to protect her. The next morning would be her last. December 14th, 2023, 12:03 p.m., Daniel Krug called 911, his voice shaky. My wife's not answering texts or calls. We've had threats of stalker. She was meeting Detective Martinez today. Can you check the house? He gave the address. 3132 Promontory Loop. Officers arrived at 12:17 p.m., finding the front door slightly ajar, a strip of masking tape over the Ring camera's lens. Neighbor Sarah Thompson approached. Dan called me to check on her, but she didn't answer. Inside the garage, police found Kristil unresponsive, blood pooling beneath her. She'd suffered multiple blunt force blows to the head and a single stab wound to the heart. Her Glock was holstered, unused. Paramedics pronounced her dead at 12:29 p.m. The murder weapon, likely a hammer or pipe, was missing. Crime scene techs noted no forced entry. The taped camera, an offline security system dark since 8:15 a.m., suggested an inside job. Linda, alerted by Daniel's noon call, arrived as police secured the scene. Is she gone? She sobbed, collapsing as officers held her back. Daniel pulled up at 12:42 p.m., feigning shock. What happened? Where's Kristil? Martinez observed his measured tone, eyes scanning the crowd. Inside, evidence painted a grim picture. Kristil was last seen on Sarah's doorbell cam at 7:57 a.m., dropping Emma and Liam at school. Daniel left at 8:24 in his Mazda, claiming Kristil rushed him out from the kitchen. At 8:19, 2 unsent texts sat on her phone, one to Martinez, one to Ethan, claiming she'd faked the stalking and had an affair with a mystery man, hinting at a Gone Girl plot. Her phone screen was inactive, suggesting they were pre-scheduled. By 8:50, when Daniel texted her to confirm picking up Sophie, she was likely already dead. That afternoon, Martinez's team tracked Anthony Holland to a modest apartment in Salt Lake City. A 43-year-old server at Texas Roadhouse, studying cloud computing part-time, he was stunned. Colorado? I haven't been there since 2016. His alibi was airtight. Halloween photos with his sister's kids in Utah, GPS data showing no travel, and coworkers confirming his shifts December 13th to 14th. His roommate, Miguel, verified Anthony was napping when police arrived at 1:47 p.m. on December 14th, the last time he'd thought of Crystal. 2001, when we broke up. I moved on. Martinez crossed him off. If Anthony wasn't Kickman, the name Sophie gave the stalker, refusing to use his real one who was. Crystal's death triggered exigent circumstances, forcing tech companies to release data stalled for weeks. The results were staggering. Every stalker, message, texts, emails, the dark web ad traced to IP addresses, linked to Daniel Krug's work computer at the health department, a $50 Visa gift card tied to his bank account. Bought a burner phone at a Broomfield Walmart on April 10, 2023. On October 2nd, that phone sent the first Anthony text to Crystal and a test message to Daniel's number. Test, he replied. Yeah, the Halloween photo of Daniel. Taken with his phone's front-facing camera, propped on a parked car's hood. Cell tower pings placed the burner near his office, home, or public Wi-Fi at Broomfield Library. The unsent texts on Crystal's phone, drafted from an app Daniel had access to, timed to deflect suspicion. A forensic psychologist labeled it catfishing, a manipulative tactic to control a partner through fear. The pattern wasn't new. In 2001, Daniel's college girlfriend at George Washington University filed a restraining order. After their breakup, he posed as his roommate Tom on AOL Instant Messenger, sending messages like "Dan's having a bad day, talk to him." He fabricated a cadet, Nick Clark, spreading rumors she'd slept around at the Air Force Academy, and made distorted voice calls to scare her. A psychologist called it first love obsession syndrome, where heartbreak fuels elaborate deception. The order stopped him until he met Crystal that summer. When she began pulling away in 2023, eyeing divorce and custody, Daniel revived the playbook, framing Anthony to keep her close or drive her to despair. But when she grew suspicious, likely confronting him on December 14th, he panicked. Police reconstructed the timeline. Crystal dropped the kids at school by 7:57 a.m., returned home, and entered the garage. Daniel, who'd left at 8:24, likely doubled back or never left far, disabling the cameras at 8:15 via the Homes app, which he controlled. He ambushed her, striking her head multiple times with a blunt object, possibly a hammer. Per blood spatter analysis, then stabbed her heart as she lay face up, explaining minimal chest blood. The taped Ring camera and missing weapon suggested premeditation. Crystal's Glock, in her purse, was untouched. She never suspected her husband. On December 16th, police arrested Daniel at a King Soopers, catching him mid-shop. "I didn't do this," he yelled, accusing Crystal's family of a toxic conspiracy. He claimed Martinez was untrustworthy, insisting Kickman was real, but the evidence was ironclad. At trial, April 7th to 17th, 2025, prosecutors called it calculated depravity. The defense argued no blood on Daniel's clothes and partial unknown DNA on Crystal's neck pointed elsewhere. But the digital trail burner phone, IP logs, selfie photos sealed his fate. On April 17th, the jury convicted him of first-degree murder, 2 counts of stalking, and criminal impersonation. On April 18th, he got life without parole, plus 9.5 years. Crystal's loved ones packed the courtroom, their voices raw. Michael called Daniel's actions pure selfish evil, lamenting police delays in tracing IPs. Stalled by Google and Verizon until the murder. Linda sobbed. She was terrified, and we couldn't save her. Ethan vowed to raise the kids, supported by a GoFundMe. The family questioned why Martina suspected Daniel since November 16th, but didn't act, citing insufficient evidence. A neighbor's testimony that Crystal feared Daniel's dismissal of the threat haunted them. Crystal's legacy lives in her children and the love she poured into them. Crystal Krug's story is a stark reminder. Danger can lurk closest to home. What do you think could faster action have saved Crystal? Was Daniel's deception a twisted bid for control? Share your thoughts below and subscribe to the Crime Decoder for more gripping true crime tales. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and we'll see you next time.